sitting in his yard, his blow up motor. I'm like, that's perfect. I could buy that car, put a new motor in it, and that's perfect for college. Right? I mean, I was really dumb.
Exactly.
I drove that car for like 3 months in college on 3 cylinders.
Oh my God.
I didn't really like the go-kart community too much. Basically, he told me I had commitment issues, you know. It made it on the trailer, but I blew my right front tire because it caught the edge. A little bit of drama's good, you know, like stuff with Chelsea. That's
Keep
good
the
drama.
tension high. It's good for views. But
like we don't actually need to like punch. You know, we don't actually need to punch each other in the face.
Yeah.
You know.
Stay fresh like a brand new whip. That new smell. Switching it up, 2-step. They try to text, leaving my race, switching the phone.
Welcome back to the #1 Drift Podcast on YouTube. I am Dawson, and this is
Chad Campbell.
Hell yeah. So, of course, a few announcements real quick. Don't forget to subscribe, especially if you want to join in on the Bridgemoto Giveaway. The first place winner gets the steering wheel along with some other goodies. But anyways, don't forget to subscribe to Bridgemoto's YouTube channel as well, along with their Instagram account, which is in the description. But if you do, again, want to be on the podcast, don't forget you can email at thecircleofdrift@gmail.com and just make sure to put in the subject line drift resume and tell me a little bit about yourself. So that's pretty much it on the intro. So if you want to kind of give a rundown on yourself and who you are.
Sure. My name is Chad Campbell. I am a mechanic in Formula Drift for Alex Licklider in Prospect.
Hell yeah.
I also drift myself. I have a C506 Corvette, and I also have an S13 street car, which is ass backwards. But
yeah, we'll get into that one.
Yeah.
I love that car. Well, cool. So how did you kind of get into being a mechanic for him?
So I was actually, it was kind of by accident in a way. And I'll say that as far as mistaken identity. So I was I was at a drift event, and I'm giving ride-alongs, and there was this girl that rode with me, and she popped up on my Facebook, like add friend, whatever. So I had her.
Gotcha.
And messaged her. I'm like, hey, you were the one that rode with me. You know, do you want any videos or anything? Did you take videos? She was like, no, that wasn't me. I'm like, she's like, but I've seen you drift at like MB Drift or wherever else. So then we get to chatting, and everything's cool. And about like a month later, she shared Alex's post that he was looking for a mechanic because she's from Maryland where he's at, and she knows Alex.
Nice.
And so then I was like, I would love to do that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And reached out and
that's
went
an
through,
opportunity.
I went through the interview process and I got it. So
what was the interview process like?
Well, it first started out like just through basic messaging, like what's your experience, this and that. And then there was a Google Meet where I actually got to meet Alex, and he asked questions about my mechanic experience. To am I familiar with LS engines, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And also kind of get an idea on like my demeanor and am I going to be a good fit for the team?
How you speak to people, stuff like
Absolutely. That. And also, can you travel to all these events? What's your work schedule like? Those kind of things, because they kind of mold into that picture.
What kind of work were you doing at the time?
So FD is a part-time thing. So I'm still like in the tech. So I'm like a technical support engineer for a database company.
Oh, sick. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So, and I can work remote. So that's also That's also part
part
of the reason that I'm able to do this is I can work remotely while I go to FD. Obviously, I have to take the time off to do my duties, but on the way up there, I can work remote.
That's cool.
Which makes it possible. If it wasn't for that, man, I don't think I could do
it. Yeah, that'd be a tight squeeze to make it happen. Well, that's cool. So how long have you been doing that technically?
So I'm a rookie mechanic this year. This is my first year. Yeah.
Sick. Okay. How has it been so far? Like, what are some of the
learning curves,
crazy things you've seen? And yeah.
I will say first day on the job is tough, and I feel like that's anywhere.
Yeah.
So Road Atlanta, never been a mechanic on an FD team before, and here we are. And things get a little hectic sometimes, trying to figure out your role and what's expected of you and the rest of the team, and trying to figure out that flow.
Yeah.
So I'll say like the first day or two, I'm like thinking, is this for me? Should I be here?
Yeah.
Type thing.
How the fuck is this gonna go?
yeah, absolutely. So, but after the first event, you gain that gel with the team, and you figure out your role. And by by New Jersey, it was like the excitement was like way up here.
Yeah. Well, that's good. What's some of the crazier moments you've seen in FD so far? Being in the pits and everything.
Oh man, so like watching some of the other guys fix their cars when they trash them is pretty crazy. Luckily, we haven't trashed our car, so I haven't had to deal with that. Seeing them run around, and also like the help, man. Like, I've jumped in and helped with other teams, it's great to see that. Yeah. As far as on our end, like just stuff like a burnt spark plug wire, something stupid that'll ruin your qualifying
dumb
session.
stuff.
And then things break, like you break an axle.
Yeah,
well, and that's
fairly common.
It's pretty common, but like the time that you need to get it done.
Yeah. Well, you were kind of explaining some of the headaches with like tire changing and stuff like that off camera before we started. Sorry. So kind of give a rundown on that to the audience, and what kind of hectic stuff you guys probably need to change in the future.
Sure. So I would say the most stressful part of being a mechanic in FD is practicing qualifying. Hands down. I guess unless you crash in the middle of a battle. But that's the most stressful part because in practice, everybody lines up. You got 40 pro spec guys out there all trying to get seat time.
Yeah.
You've got it's on you to change those tires quick. If you can't change them quick, the other guys get out. They'll beat you. Now that's less practice time for your driver. And that means, who's going to jack the car up?
Yeah.
Who's going to have the gun? Who's going to grab that tire? Is the tire pressure already set? Like, if it's not, that's a problem, right? That's extra time. Yeah. So being on that game will get your driver out there quickly. So I know twice in Atlanta, when they cut practice up, they'll do this right here. Like, practice is over.
Yeah.
Twice, our driver was on the line, and we got the X. And one of those times, the very next run his qualifying run is when he burned a spark plug wire in the burnout box.
Oh,
right.
Fuck.
So, it's bad luck, but at the same time, if we had been faster, if we had been better and got him out there, then maybe that spark plug wire would have burned on the practice. We could have fixed it. And
so now you guys have like a designated person for each role.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So which part in those fast paced moments in practice? What part do you do?
So I grab the jack. I jack the car up, and the other guy's got the gun. He whips a wheel off. I grab a wheel, I put it up. Yep. I'm doing the lug nuts. He goes over and he gets those off. By the time he's got those off, I'm walking back around. He throws that tire to the side. I grab that one and put it on and hand tighten them.
System now.
And then now he's over there torquing those down. I hand tighten them, and by the time I'm done hand tightening them, I go get the torque wrench and make sure it's set. And as he's bolting the last tire down, I'm dropping the jack. I drop the jack, throw it out of the way, torque the wheels.
Have y'all timed yourselves yet?
We have not, but it's pretty.
What would you guess it around?
I mean, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes.
That's not bad. Yeah,
it's not bad. I mean, considering we don't have NASCAR lug nuts and stuff like that.
Well, of course,
we still gotta tighten them on.
Tighten them on first with your hands first.
We don't cross that.
Hell yeah. So, all right, let's get into kind of yourself then. How long have you been technically drifting?
So I've been in the drift scene since roughly like 2005.
Okay.
I haven't been drifting since 2005.
You're a veteran.
I would say that. I actually drifted with Streetwise Drift. I don't know if anybody
I've heard of them.
remembers them from back in the day. That's like when we had competition where if you didn't have a roll cage, we were basically doing qualifying competition, like single run comps. But anyway, like back in 2005, that's when I graduated high school, when I was about to go to college, and I needed a car. And obviously, who wouldn't want an S13 to drive to college, which is the dumbest.
So the S13 came first.
Yeah. Well, this is not the same S13 I have now.
Okay.
But this is how I got into S13s in general, or S14s. So anyway, you know, I'm from South Boston, Virginia, which is like 20 minutes from VIR, but like there's a circle track there, South Boston Speedway, and they have a class, pure stock, that runs 240s. Okay. And I always thought, like, man, they're super cool. I like that car. You know? And I had a buddy who had one, and then like sitting in his yard, his blowed up motor. I'm like, that's perfect. I could buy that car, put a new motor in it, and that's perfect for college. Right? I mean, I was really dumb.
Exactly.
I should have went and bought a Honda Civic. Like, that's what I should have done, but I didn't. So,
then
Hondas
ain't bad either.
I might not be where I am today if I had bought a Honda Civic, though.
I agree. I did get my front wheel drive days over with in the beginning, which were some more unusual front wheel drive cars. Anyways,
yeah. So then I get on the forums and I'm looking like, what motor? Like, you know, I didn't know anything about an SR. Like, I just want to build a motor. What do I do? Right? Yeah. Then I find out about this SR20. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, it has a red valve cover and everything, right?
Red valve cover. You sold me.
So then, man, that's back awesome. Then I got to look it online, and you could get one for like $1,500. Like, you know,
I fucking wish.
And
man.
I was like, I paid $500 for the car, $1,500 for the motor, and you know, at the time, I knew how to do a little bit of mechanics. I grew up doing mechanic stuff. So me and my brothers were like, all right, we'll put it in. We'll figure it out. So
we'll put this Japanese piece of junk in there. We got this.
We thought we had it, dude. It took us like 3 months to do.
What were some of the headaches you ran into with that?
Oh, my God. The wiring. I had never wired a car in my life.
Did somebody do like a hack job on it before? Or
no,
was it just getting old as fuck?
The junkyard, like just...
Oh.
Yeah.
Like that. Damn, bro.
Like, so it's like missing stuff. Like, I think I ended up ordering a new harness or something. But then even that harness, like, had some wires cut that shouldn't have been cut. And actually...
As they do.
So I didn't even know what an igniter chip was.
Oh,
right?
Really?
And here's the thing.
Dude, I didn't either when I got into the RB, I swear to God. And then I found out, and I was like, that's fucking dumb. Let's get rid of that.
So we spent like 2 weeks trying to get this car to start and can't figure out why it won't get fire. But it's because it didn't have an igniter chip. Like,
didn't have the smart coils, baby.
And so then I figure out, you know, I had called, man, back in the day, it was like Heavy Throttle was a website. And that guy sold a bunch of parts, but he was huge in the SR community and helping people. So I called him, and he's like, well, do you need a new igniter chip? I'm like, I don't, what is that?
Beats me, bro. You tell me. Do I?
So it ended up being that. So I got a igniter chip, we fired it up.
That's crazy.
It was still only running on 3 cylinders, man. And I drove that car for like 3 months in college on 3 cylinders.
Oh my God.
Dude, I had to go. I didn't have a car.
Like, I'm getting to school one way or another. I don't figure it out. Whatever. Yeah, it's supposed to be God's motor for a reason.
I know. And I was broke, man. Like, it was the dumbest decision I ever did as far as financially, right? But,
so that was like, you've had multiple SR cars then.
Yeah. I've owned 10 S chassis.
Damn.
So
what, like, run through the variations you've had, or did a lot of them just be shells, or?
Yeah, some shells. Man, I've had a bunch of hatchbacks. Mostly were hatchbacks. Okay. I did own 2 or 3 different S14s.
Nice.
One was a Kooky, but it wasn't a real Kooky.
Kooky or Zinky? Real quick.
Kooky all day.
All right.
Never Zinky. I hated my Zinky.
I like them, but they're just like it's like you're adorable version, you know?
I just don't like the front headlights, man. I mean, that's the difference, but I just don't like the bubble.
Yeah. If you put 33 headlights in it, it looks okay.
Yeah.
But it's still. Okay.
Never owned a coupe.
Sorry.
Never owned a coupe.
Oh, really?
Nope. Wow. And I probably will never own a coupe.
Why?
Because the back of the car, the taillights, it looks like a Honda Accord, man. Like an old Honda Accord.
Damn, he's coming.
I know y'all gonna hate me for that,
baby.
Y'all can hate me all day for that if you want to. That's my opinion. I'm like, man, you can have a Honda Accord.
I see it. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, especially on the verts, dude. It really looks like it then.
Yeah, you know, the old school like square tail lights.
Coupes, dog, with the Sylvia front. That's just.
I do like the Sylvia front with the coupe though, but I still hate the tail lights. Even fair. If you go with like aftermarket tail lights, I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
You know, personal preference.
Yeah, it's understandable. I get it. Let us know what you think about that one in the comments.
They're going to tell me to go buy a Honda Accord, I reckon, right?
Yeah, right. Get out of the 240 scene. Go back to Hondas. Anyway, well, continue on with the
Okay, yeah.
your
So,
list.
the car ran on 3 cylinders for like 3 months until like I'm just tinkering around with it. I'm tired. I know it's not running right, and because I've got like my spark plug wire. You got the whole conversion thing you do with a coil pack, and got the light.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, cylinder. I think it was cylinder number 4 was just not firing, and then I got to poking around at the wiring harness, and there were 2 black wires.
Okay.
And they were grounded out. And I got to looking in the harness. I'm like, maybe these wires aren't ground wires. Maybe they belong together.
Oh.
And that was it. It was the black coil pack wire going to cylinder number 4.
What the
fuck? That was it. So for whatever reason, that wire was cut. I don't know why it was cut, but
yeah.
I hooked those wires together, and I had a great run.
A rat get in there or some shit, probably. Or was it? Did it look like a clean cut?
Yeah. That was a clean cut,
what
man.
The fuck?
No idea. It's just some of the strangest stuff.
Dude, 240. I swear. Y'all's cars are junk. I'm going to say it again. Actually, what's your hot take on that? Do you think 240s are technically junk?
I had this conversation with Alex this week, actually, at FD.
Oh, fuck.
Because I told him, I was like, man, I think, like, from the factory, it's a piece of junk.
Yes, dude, they are. Horrible.
He was like, no, man, this car is so cool because you can do so much with it. You can drift it. You can road course race it. You can.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can, but not unless you add 1,000 fucking parts to it, right?
Yes. That's why there's so much aftermarket backing.
Yeah. So I say out of the box, it's not a great car, but you can make it a great car. Yes. But when you do, you've seen the for sale post.
You sacrifice a lot at the same time.
A for sale post on a well-built S13 is 3 pages long with all the parts.
Yeah, they got to make sure to put every little detail.
Absolutely.
I know what it's worth. Fuck you.
I'll say for the most part, it's a good car though overall.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, is there any car out there you would say trumps a 240?
I mean, I might be biased, but a Corvette all day. Well, C5 or C6. C4 is kind of just...
C5s they just look goofy to me.
Yeah.
C6 is
where it's at, man.
Prime Corvette, I would say.
I think C6 was probably the best Corvette they've come out with.
Yeah.
And I owned a C6. I didn't drift it, but I owned one.
C4's god awful.
Yeah.
Good God, those things are the fucking... Yeah. The ugly stepchild or whatever the saying is. Yeah, that too. The only one that looks cool is LZ's fucking big kit C4 that's RB.
Yeah, I do like that car.
Yeah, which the Drift HQ podcast that just came out that we talked about that car. They all said the same thing. You either hate it or you love it. But is drifting how you got into cars in general?
Actually, no. I was into cars before drifting. I was into cars as a kid, man, because I grew up near a racetrack.
Oh, what racetrack?
The South Boston Speedway.
Okay.
I actually helped run the Sobo drifts there that we do. So
nice.
It was kind of cool for the first time. It was 2 years ago that we did our first drift event there. It was so cool because I grew up, 5-6 years old going to this racetrack, and then I got to help build a drift program there. So it's really cool to drift there. But I just grew up around the cars and loved it. So then when I got my first vehicle was an S10. Man, I dropped it. Of course I did, right?
Dude, I used to want one of the extremes, the S10 Extremes.
I had the square body.
I don't know why. They just look kind of cool to me.
They're cool. I think they look cool. Yeah. At least back then.
The step
everybody had the underglow lights back then, man.
Yeah, that was the shit.
We brought it back. The drift community brought the underglow back.
I remember doing it a few years ago, and then it started really catching on and stuff. I just thought I did it as a joke. They were like $40 on eBay. I was like, let's do it. It'll be hilarious.
I went in Walmart and bought the underglow. It's like this long, but it was like a neon bulb, right? And I bolted that to the front, up under the bumper. And it was like blue. And I was like, that's the cool. It was the only one I had. No other lights anywhere else. Just that one in the front. I was like, that shit's cool.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I did all the way around the car, and then the first event, it all got ripped off. One of the wires, the zip tie broke, and it caught the ground and ripped everything out. But I had all 4 sides, and then I put one above where the FD brake lights would be.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. And then it just I have purple tint, so it kind of shined down on. I don't know. It looked cool to me.
Absolutely. But I used to kind of drift the S10 though. Like I love power sliding. Anytime, you know, if I'm on gravel and I'm like power sliding, or if I could go around a turn if it was wet and like, because it didn't have positive traction, but if you sling it, it'll go.
Yeah.
And like
it'll float.
And man, it like that was kind of what got me into drifting. Was like I love sliding around. I didn't know what drifting was. I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
But then when I got the SR20 and the 240, I started to learn more about the drifting, and I was like, I want to do this.
It just comes with the 240.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm going to go do this. So what I would do is I would wait until the middle of the night when it was raining, and I would go to the mall parking lot, and that's how I learned how to drift. Because I didn't have tires, I didn't have money for tires.
Yep.
And so I would go slide around until the mall cop comes over with his green light, you know, and kick me out of there. He's like, "I'll call the cops on you."
Hey, buddy, you got to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, and then so I kind of sucked at that for a while because I had an open diff, you know.
You just didn't know better, yeah.
Man, I couldn't understand. I'm like, I see him doing it on you know, like, was it Street Fire back then? Was StreetFire.net?
Holy shit.
Because the YouTube was a thing.
Bringing out the old knowledge.
Yeah, but Street Fire was like where you would go to like get real like racing content. And I would see people drifting. I'm like, man, why won't my car do that?
Yeah.
And then I got online. It was like the Nico forums and the Zilvia.
I was about to say straight to the forums, baby.
And that's where I learned. It was like, you need to weld your diff.
Yep.
I'm like, all right.
How do I do that?
So then, and you know, in my apartment parking lot, I jacked my car up on 4 jack stands and I pulled the diff out. And I was violating every.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you've ever lived in an apartment, you know, working on your car is a big no-no.
Oh, yeah, because it's like kids running around and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't care. Man. I jacked it up on all 4. I dropped the diff out.
Go to the back parking lot. You figure it out. It's fine.
Oh, I did it right there in the front, man. I didn't care. Like, you know, I
find me, bitch.
I was like, I don't have anywhere else to do this.
Yeah.
They didn't find me. They did leave a note on my car. I had 2 days, I think,
to get it all back together and shit. Yeah.
But I took it to the welder that day, so
I
had it back together like the next day. And then that's when drifting really started, right? I was like, oh, I can go do real drift events now.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what got me into it. And I would say by then it was like 2006, 2007 before I actually made it to my first ever legit drift event that wasn't a mall parking lot, you know.
Yeah. What was that first drift event like back what you said in 06, 05, 06?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I would say probably 06, 07.
Okay.
I'd have to go back and look. I don't remember.
Yeah,
it's a long time ago. No, the first drift event was pretty far away. It was out in Virginia Beach.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm out of at the time I was living in Virginia, but in South Boston, or like Danville.
Was that just like eager to get to an event?
Yeah, I was like, I want to go to an event. I just want to.
There wasn't one.
I want to go do this, and not on the street. You know, I want to go do an event. So I went down there, and there's like an airfield out there that they were.
Oh, sick!
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
I remember my first drift event. The guys were coaching everybody. Everybody's new at this, and they were like, wherever you look, that's where you're going, and drifting. So that's what you do, right? Off of the end of the airstrip was a crane. It's like a broken down crane. It's just out there.
Okay.
He was like, don't look at the crane. You won't go hit the crane. Somebody hit the crane.
He was looking dead at that motherfucker. Yeah. As soon as he initiated.
Oh, yeah.
Bing.
But it's way off too. Like, you have to really mess up. But, you know, and like, when you first starting out, man.
Some wild shit sometimes. Every once in a while. That one thing you never thought would happen fucking happens.
Yeah, I think it was a Lexus too.
Oh.
Like SC300. Like, I don't
see those are. What do you think about those? I think they're cool, but they are kind of heavy.
They're heavy.
They're goofy looking.
Cool, but heavy. But I guess if you strip them down, I mean, there's a guy that runs it, Piedmont Drift with one. He does really good. But
oh yeah,
his is all stripped out.
I've seen several good ones, but they're all either really stripped or they make a lot of power.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not my favorite. I'm not a Lexus guy, man.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
really
fair.
mess with them.
I like the IS300s just because I'm a big sedan guy, anyways, sorry. Well, so you got the S13. When did you get the S13 you have now?
I got that, I'll say last fall.
Okay. So how'd you stumble upon that one?
I was back in the market for, I'd already built my drift car, my C5, and I was happy with that. And I'm like, I really want another 240 because the prices are going up so high. I want to get my 240 that I keep as a street car, and and fix up and paint and everything else and not tear it up. I'm trying to save one for myself.
Gotcha.
So I went on, 6 months just looking at Facebook Marketplace, looking wherever until this one popped up.
Okay.
And I messaged the guy right away. He wanted $5,000 for this SR20 AC, like fully built, like Megan coilovers, like every part you can imagine on this car is there.
Fully built as in like internals and stuff?
Well, the cams, the internals of the short block weren't built. It did have Tomei cams. It had a Tomei 7940 turbo. I mean,
sick.
Big injectors. Had a power. It's an old build. It had a power FC.
Yeah.
But it had everything you could imagine.
Good conservative power build.
Yeah, a good mid-range power build.
Yeah.
So I messaged the guy, and he's like, "Well, you're the second person that's messaging me, but the first person's coming to get it tomorrow."
Yeah. Long story short, yeah.
Oh man, I was like, "Dude, I'll go get the cash now. I'll be there with the trailer tomorrow and pick it up." He's like, "All right, well, I'll let you know if something happens." So I went to the bank anyway, got the cash just in case. And sure enough, guy started flaking on him. And he messaged me. He was like, "Can you be here tomorrow with the money?" I'm like, "Dude, I will be there.
Absolutely.
I will be there tomorrow." So a buddy of mine hopped in the truck, and we went down to Wilmington, North Carolina, and loaded it on a tow dolly, which was actually a pain in the ass because it's lowered and it won't go on the front. So it's a pig nose, and with the lip, and it would not go on the tow. It's a U-Haul tow dolly. It wasn't going to go. No boards. It was not going to happen. So we were going to have to back it on there, which was kind of stressful because you got to have the wheels perfectly straight going on the road, right?
Yeah.
Well, then I try to back it on there, and the exhaust is like hitting the tow dolly.
Fuck.
I had to just send it.
We're getting it on there somehow.
Yeah, and it dented it. That's all it did, though. It dented the exhaust. I mean, I ended up
changed the note of hair.
Yeah, I ended up putting a different exhaust on it anyway. It was running an Apexi Nor, or I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's the quiet, the stealth exhaust. I'm like, who the hell? Why would you run this? But whatever.
Who wasted their money on?
I don't know. It's like super quiet, like.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah, and it's black. Apparently, if you go on Apexi's website and look up, like, the reason this exhaust exists is so that it's not shiny and loud, and for the cops. And
oh my god, whatever.
But it's discontinued now, I believe.
California bullshit.
Yeah, so I ripped that off. I put I don't even remember what exhaust I put on there. One of the GT exhausts.
Yeah.
Yeah. They all sound the same, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. So you have more than one S13 right now, then?
No, that's the only one I got.
Oh, okay. I thought.
So I've owned 10 in my entire life. I've trashed a bunch of them, and now I've just got this one.
Okay.
Did
you do a lot of part outs and stuff with some?
I did some. So I went through some periods of time where I would get 2 cars for one. So like I remember I traded my RB S13 for 2 S14s, but. Neither one ran, but together they would run and be a good car. And I have a whole nother parts car.
Sick.
So at the time, my RB was like not reliable. It didn't have power steering.
Was that RB20?
It's RB20. Okay. Yeah. And I was kind of sick of like not having power steering and not being reliable. I was like, I need a reliable car. And again, not being smart, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll trade this guy for 2 S14s and just get me a reliable S14, right?
Yeah.
Instead of selling it and getting the money and then like buying a normal car. But that's for losers.
Yeah. We don't do the easy way. No. Come on, that's not
the drift life, man.
That's not our nature. We can't do that. Well, okay. So you have the Vet too. When did you explain how you got that?
No, not yet.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about that. How did you come across the Vet?
So I've always loved Corvettes, like even as a kid. And if there's no way I would have ever thought like 10, 15 years ago that I would have a drift Corvette. Like, no, that's not gonna happen. Might have a regular
They're
Corvette.
So valued.
Yeah. So I actually had a C6 for a while. It was like my daily driver. It was a great car.
That's cool.
And I sold that, moved on. Anyway, so I want to get back into drifting. So like I did like some go-kart racing and stuff.
Okay.
Actually the tile is together. So I drifted to like 2008, 2009.
Okay.
And then like I lost my job. Like through the like got laid off from recession, all that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I parted my SR out and sold all my stuff, and I was like, I can't drift, man. I was already broke, but when you don't have a job, you're more broke. So
Yeah.
I kind of hung it up and focused on my career. So fast forward 10 years before I'm getting back into drifting.
Mm-hmm.
But I had cars. I built cars. I had 240s.
Yeah, you still
had all kind of stuff.
Stuff to work on.
Yes, and I was still like kind of following along with drifting a little bit. Like I'd watch FD sometimes.
That's cool.
I'd pop over to local events and watch them. I taught the car guys. Anyway, so I decided, I did like some go-kart racing, and that was fun. But like, I was like, man, I really want to get back into drifting. Like,
yeah.
I didn't really like the go-kart community too much. If you
How
guys
so?
are go-kart racers, sorry.
Why they just
it was
like
it's
drag
just kind of
racers?
like NASCAR, man. It's just like everybody's like super secretive. They're not going to tell you anything.
That's lame.
The growing pains are like really steep.
Yeah.
And I was trying to have fun. And
is doing karting expensive?
Yes.
Yes.
A lot of people don't think it is. It's very expensive.
I feel like it's looked at as a very cheap motorsport, I would say.
To get into it is. It's kind of like drifting.
Okay.
If you want to go buy a cheap car,
like you could technically do it,
you can
but
do it.
if you want to do it
if you want to be
at
competitive,
a very level.
If you want to be competitive in like go-kart racing, I'm like not like dirt kart racing, but like sprint style, you would need a budget of at least $6,000 to $7,000 for your cart. And then you need to
damn.
Yeah, like that's even at the slowest cart. Like your chassis is going to cost like $3,000 alone, and then your motor.
Jesus,
it's expensive. I run used stuff because I'm just getting into it.
Yeah.
My chassis is all worn out. My motor's all worn out. I'm like, I'm like a top 10 guy, which is pretty good. But after 3 years, I'm like, man, I don't have like, a running budget of like $20,000 a year, $30,000 a year to go spend on this go-kart racing, man. I don't have it. I'd rather go drift. Right. So then I sold all my go-kart stuff and decided to get into drifting. And by this time, this was 2 winters ago. The Corvettes were, one, they were still cheap. And 2, you could get FDF angle kits. They got all these parts they didn't have a long time ago. So I got to looking, and I actually found a Copart car in Kentucky.
No shit.
It was not from Copart, but the owner was a business.
Okay.
And he had bought it through Copart to rebuild it himself and just lost interest and posted it up. It still had like,
how much did he have it posted for?
$7,500.
Oh.
And I called him up and I was like, I need it shipped, and I got it shipped to my door for $7,900.
No way.
And it's a Z06.
Damn.
And so I feel like I got a steal on it because it came with like Corbu seats. It came with the heads and cam already, exhaust. Like this, whoever wrecked it, road course raced it. Because I saw when you pop the hood, you could see all like the little road course racing stickers and stuff. A fast intake, came with beefed up sway bars on it.
Yeah. Was any of the engine messed with?
Just the heads and cam.
Just heads and cam.
Heads, cams, headers. The basics, bolt-ons. Yeah. But it dynoed 430 to the wheels, and I'm like, I've got less than $10,000 in this car, and it's got 500 crank horsepower.
Good Lord.
And I got the FDF angle kit on there, and then
shout out to FDF, baby.
Yeah, that's great.
How do you like that so far? The FDF.
I love it, man. I love that kit.
What version is it?
I just have the cheap Mini Madness.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Yeah, it's great. It's bolt on. I've been running it for 2 years now. And a lot of people get into the whole argument or debate. Can you run on the max 70-degree setting with stock control arms?
Yeah.
I'm like, you can, because I do it.
Yeah.
You just have to. You have to run wheel spacers, which I run conversion spacers.
Okay.
114.3.
Sick.
Sick. And that pushed my wheels out a bit to kind of clear things. And the biggest problem is that at that point, the computer is right there behind that right front wheel. It'll rub the computer and wire harness and all that. So you got to relocate that to the passenger side. All that's free.
Yeah. That's easy work.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm running stock control arms and everything, and 70 degrees of angle on that kit.
Damn.
Yeah.
And just a bolt-on.
Was it like $400? Yeah, the $400 bolt-on kit. It's great.
Dude, if you got a Corvette C5 and you don't have that kit, do that.
Yep.
Not many cars can you get 70 degrees out of just a simple bolt-on kit.
Not at all. You got to upgrade everything. But it's awesome. Now, it has 2 settings, a 50-degree and a 70-degree. I struggled on the 50-degree setting. Corvettes.
Which, I mean, even to start out on 50 degrees is quite a bit. That's good.
But for whatever reason, Corvettes like to over-rotate. without the angle.
Well, I have heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. If you ever driven an F body and you try to watch somebody in an F body do donuts, it has that like whipping effect. But the reason it does that is because there's not enough angle to do like a perfect circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, a Corvette will do the same thing. Even at the 50-degree setting, once it starts to kind of over rotate a little bit, you can't come back from it. So,
yeah. It just kind of buries itself out there.
Yeah, it's really happy in that 50 to 62 probably, if I'm just guessing. Range, like 70, like you're spinning out, like you're done.
Damn.
Or if you do save it, you lost all your speed and angle,
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about that a little bit. Yeah, because on my car, like I have the Mega Mantis kit, so there's so much angle, even without the rack relocation and still a bump stop in it. Like it's an absurd amount of angle that I can't even fathom using all of that angle, even doing backies. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it just slows the car down.
Yeah, you gotta have 600, 700 plus horsepower to even be able to use that amount of angle for any type of leverage or gain.
Absolutely, yeah. If you're running a Mini Mantis on 7 degrees with a vet, you're not going to be driving at full lock, and that's not your goal. You just have it available if you need it, but you're not going to be driving at full lock.
No. So, what do you suggest that people start off with low angle whenever they first get into drifting?
Man, that's a good question.
Because I would always say yes, just because I appreciate that I did that for myself. Now, I did it because of budget reasons. I couldn't afford the angle kits and stuff like that, but I think it kind of trained me how to actually really drive the car rather than lean on the angle.
Yeah. So I agree with that part. I think it depends on the car. So like the 240, for instance, stock angle. You can drift it. No problem. I don't know. It was like
cut the knuckle a little bit if you want.
Yeah. What is a stock 240? Like 45 degrees maybe?
It's
42?
I didn't know that.
I could be wrong. But like a Corvette's like 20 something. It's bad.
Yeah, Corvettes are horrible. I think it was 24.
It's really bad.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about that the other day on Corvettes, but
so I would say if you have enough angle to be able to drift the car and learn on it, yes. But like on a Corvette, even at the 50 degree, it wants to over rotate. You're gonna struggle.
Yeah,
I don't really know if that's good to learn on. Like if the
at
car,
that point,
it's
kind of useless.
Yeah, I don't know, but like a 240 is a little bit the angle, the way it's set up, I guess, like as far as maybe Ackerman or however it's set up.
Yeah,
stock angle lets you actually drift the car. That's why they got super popular.
Yep.
I think the biggest thing, like getting into it, is like one, don't add too much angle, and like don't add too much horsepower, and don't rely on your e-brake too much at the beginning.
Yeah, that's one thing I wish I would have learned quicker, was not to use the e-brake so much, because I didn't really know much about drifting when I got into it, so I always thought that was like your main resource in drifting. So now that's
Yep, absolutely.
Especially if you're camping on it. Dude, I don't. That bothers me for some reason. I know that's comfortable for some people, but it just bothers the fuck out of me.
Yeah, just sit there with it.
Put your hand on the wheel.
So like, I think using the e-brake's a tool. Great, it's great. I use mine a lot. Like I'm not gonna lie, but I didn't learn on it, and I learned a lot on transitions.
Yeah.
Early on, because I had like a stock handbrake in the 240 and it was garbage. So
pulled it from
I didn't even have a drift button. I would take duct tape and like I would push the button in and I would duct tape it. And then I just realized it was much easier to clutch kick in my entry.
Yeah.
And then on my transitions, I would just flick the car or whatever I needed to do to transition and not pull the e-brake so much. So it would depend on the track. Like if it's a hard like hairpin or something, you kind of need to use it. But
no, I agree. Have you ever driven Mid Pond?
Nope, I've never been there. It's on my bucket list.
Oh, good. it's a fantastic track. But the center hairpin, like you're coming around that sweeper and you're just hauling ass, and it's a complete hairpin. Yeah, it does that sometimes. 180 right turn, so you're having to flick it as hard as you can and scrub a shit ton of speed. That's a perfect time to use the handbrake, and I would say throw a little bit of a backy there if you can.
Absolutely. I would say it's a good initiation, like for most tracks, the handbrake, but like I don't think you should go to a track learning that way.
Yeah. I think you should still do the flick and then handbrake if you need to scrub a little bit of speed. But yeah, that's one thing I would have wished I learned sooner too. Instead of just running straight up and then yanking the handbrake, and then your initiation kind of just looks goofy at that point.
Yeah, well, a lot of times too, if you rely too much on a handbrake, you end up being a slow driver.
That too, yeah.
In chase, and so when you get into competition, you're like, hey, I can't stay on this guy's door. It's like, stay off the handbrake. But and that requires you to learn how to either initiate or even if it's just a quick pull. And then when you transition through the rest part of the course, like I need to transition my car without pulling the handbrake so I can try to stay on their door.
Yeah.
So that's that counter steering and like slowing down with angle kind of stuff, and that left foot braking comes in. If you just pull the handbrake, you're going to slow down. Probably too much.
I think a lot of that comes with just being fearful in the moment.
Yeah. Well, it's a safety net.
Drivers. Yeah. Safety net. That's very correct. How did you kind of overcome that whenever you first started?
So once I got with the vet, when I got back into that, because I never used the handbrake in my 240s.
Yeah.
When I got in the vet, I was using the handbrake too much, and really one of my moments was actually at Hyperfest at VIR.
Okay.
This is my first year driving VIR. It was the first time I've ever done high speed drifting like that, coming down the hill. Third gear for the Z06. That's pretty tall gear.
Yeah.
Usually I'm in second at every other track. And so I couldn't link the bottom part of the course. I'm coming down the hill, I'm doing great. And then when you're about to pop down that hill, you can't really see outside of that zone, like how far it goes out because of the way the hill is as you're coming. So I don't, it's kind of like a safety net to pull the handbrake because you're like, I don't want to go flying way off course down the hill,
Yeah.
And I couldn't link it. Like I would like shallow up, and I'm like pulling the handbrake a whole lot at the end, trying to slide through the clipping point and then back up the hill.
Okay.
So I actually had Alex ride with me. And on the back part of the course, second gear, oh man, I kill it.
Yeah.
And he rides with me. We get done, and he was like, "Man, you killed it on the back." Like,
yeah.
He was like, "You know why you're not killing it on the front?" I'm like, "No, man, tell me what."
Yeah, let me know.
What he was like, "Man, you're not committing. You're using the handbrake. You're not committing." So basically, he told me
not letting the car float.
Basically, he told me I had commitment issues.
Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah. So the very next lap, I went out and laid off the handbrake on that transition and linked the course.
Yeah. Good.
And I was like, "That's it, man.
Go faster.
Go faster. Stay off the handbrake.
Go faster."
It is a safety net because it makes the car. You know what the car's going to do. It's so predictable when you pull it.
Yeah.
If you don't pull in that transition, how much angle did you throw at it, and what's that weight transfer going to feel like? Is it going to over rotate?
Yep.
Right.
You'll never find that limit either.
Yeah.
How far is too far? You got to actually push it. If you keep relying on the handbrake, you'll never get there.
Right.
And you'll never know what the car is actually capable of.
Yep.
Anyways. So, all right. What coilovers do you run then?
I don't have coilovers.
Well, even on the S13s?
Oh, on the S13, it has Megan coilovers. Swiss.
Oh, that's right. You said that.
It has Swiss springs on it.
Sick. Okay.
The Vet's still rocking stock leaf springs.
Hell yeah. Well, with Vets, you can. I mean,
you can lower it.
They still handle like a dream.
Yeah, it's got the lowering bolts. I do comp in it.
Fuck yeah.
Like, it's fine. Especially with like amateur stuff.
Oh,
I can still like get on the door of program cars with it.
That's crazy. Corvettes are such cheat codes.
It is, and so it's so soft too. Like it's, I use my adjustable sway bar to adjust
how much grip I'm getting.
That and tire pressure and everything else. And I still need coilovers. Don't get me wrong. I need coilovers.
Yeah.
But for what I'm doing right now,
BCs, baby. If any of you guys need BCs, get you some coilovers.
Yeah. So that's my plan in this winter is to do some coilovers. I want to do bash bars, coilovers. If the budget allows, do a cage. I want to make it more of like a Pro-Am car.
Nice.
I mean, basically, a Vet is a Pro-Am car.
Yeah. Well, I would take some stuff from Wes. His car is turning out and really good with what he's doing with it, and it's a C5 as well. So.
Yeah, I know the C5s don't get a lot of love, but if you can scoop one up cheap, I recommend it. Really. So I actually was talking to Matt Field at St. Louis.
Okay.
Yeah, he was after the race, and he was just out there, and so I walked up and just talked to him. I told him who I was and this and that, and I talked to him for about 20 minutes about drift Corvettes and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And he basically says like there's no difference between drifting a C5 and a C6. It's all appearance.
That's what I've heard.
There's no difference. Yeah. He was like, so you get whatever is cheaper, whatever you prefer.
Yeah.
So there's no.
It really all comes down to look at that point.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people talk about like the different tub sections in the back with the C5s. Apparently, he was like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Z06 or hatch, it doesn't matter. He's like, they're all basically the same amount of work to fix anything back there.
They're all Legos.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so do you still, I guess, drift the S13 then?
No,
or not anymore.
I never drifted the S13.
Did. Okay.
Not this one.
Was that the first one that you drifted?
Yeah, the first. So the first one was a white S13 SR, and the one I have now is a white S13 SR.
Yeah.
But I found the car that looked almost exactly like my old one. On purpose. Like I wanted that nostalgia.
That's awesome.
But this one I haven't drifted it, and I don't plan on drifting.
Don't plan on it.
I might
what the FC is gonna be.
I would do like a small like parking lot event or something.
Yeah.
But then like I don't want to blow up my SR, Like I don't want to throw rock arms and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I just built this motor and it's great. It put 370 through the wheels and it's got AC and it's a nice motor. If I just drive it and enjoy it, it'll probably last like 200,000 miles maybe.
Yeah, that's crazy to me that you have AC on it.
Yeah, man.
So cool.
It works, but the vent selector doesn't work right now. Right? It's always something broke on it.
Yeah, it's always gonna be something.
Well, it's got
you can't get away scot free.
Yeah, it's got the JDM digital conversion on it.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
So which is awesome. It's super cool. But here's the problem. So when I got everything working. The vent selector has like a little motor in it that comes off of like a Maxima or something. That's the cross part, and it's all wired in there. I'm glad I don't have to do any of that. I hate wiring.
Yeah.
So while I'm messing around trying to get the AC working and all this, and I hit. How if like the vent's not on the one that you want it, you go click, 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 right?
Yeah.
So I do that, and then it stops doing anything, and I'm like, this sucks. So I take it apart, and I see like that little motor inside's not turning. So I go look, and this car came with like a hatch full of extra parts.
Oh, he was a 240 hoarder.
Yeah,
too.
And what are the chances there's another one of those motors in there? Like, this is odd, but cool.
Yeah, right.
I guess maybe he knew. I don't know. So look, I pop it in there, and it's working. I'm like, hell yeah, man.
Shit.
I got it. And then, like, I do it again, like, not realizing what went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I went click, 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 click. It stopped working. I'm like, that's what's wrong. I'm clicking the vent selector too fast, and it's fucking the motor up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so now it only blows.
Dumb.
It only
fucking
blows.
240 things.
It only blows out of the defrost right now, so it's still AC, but like man,
it'll fog your windshield right up.
It's just it takes a little while for it to cool down and I just hadn't bought the part, and now I know if I buy the part, I got to be really easy with pushing the button.
Gotta be gentle with the technology.
Gentle with it. It's not
240 shit.
But you know what? It's still a flex.
Hey, I mean, yeah, that's true. You get the title to say that your 240 has AC. You don't hear that very often. Let's jump into this RV. So tell me, where did this big ass RV come into play? If just for context, yeah. He just came from St. Louis, and FD he drives an RV everywhere to kind of stay.
I drive an RV in FD. I drift that.
Fuck yeah. The RV. But yeah. So I had to go pick him up from a local farm where he's staying in his RV, which was pretty cool actually. But give a rundown. How did that come into play?
Yeah. So I camp like all the time.
Hell yeah.
So I love camping. I've always like rented campers or whatever. Never owned my own. Mm-hmm. And then so me and my girlfriend were talking earlier last year, and we were talking about, hey, like over the winter, we're gonna buy an RV, and it'll tow the race car.
Yeah.
That way we can camp at the racetracks, which we already are camping at other events anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to the lake, we're going to the beach. So, and she also wanted to get back into contract work for what she does.
Okay.
So it made sense for us to buy a 38-foot motorhome.
Yeah.
for her to be able to travel later this year to all over the world, right? Because I can, not the world, the United States, wherever she wants to go, because I can work remote.
Yeah.
So I'll just tag along. If I want to go drifting, I'll fly home, grab my truck and the trailer and go on down. But in the meantime, I can pull the race car to the events.
Yeah, and have somewhere to stay.
Save some money. And then basically, then the whole ordeal with me getting into FD, being a mechanic, and I already had the RV.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is great. Like,
fucking perfect. This all worked out.
Yeah. It worked out really well. Like, having that at the racetrack for the team is like, and it's awesome. Not all the teams get that. And it's a luxury. And I also get to travel when I go, you know? Yeah. So, you know, it's been great.
The reason I wanted to bring it up is because there seems to be kind of a niche for that, where people are kind of growing into getting RVs and using that to tow their race car and kind of travel a little bit more. Like I told you, Andy May, which you guys have seen him on the podcast, he does that and that's his life pretty much. That's his home. So I think that's kind of a good topic to get into since it's growing.
Yeah, I think you can get an RV for not much more than a tow truck.
That's crazy.
Like a tow vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so how much did you pay for that one?
I got it for $37,000.
37. Okay.
Yeah, and it's
what year is it?
It's a 2005. So
okay.
Fleetwood Bounder, 38 foot. It's on a Freightliner chassis, so it's on a bus chassis. It has air.
It looks like a fucking bus.
It is a bus, dude. Like, because it's got the big windshields.
Yeah.
It's got air brakes. It's got an engine brake.
Damn. Okay.
It's got all that. So it's literally a bus.
What's a normal lifespan for an RV like that?
Oh man, it's all on the care, because all right. So the motor and transmission are pretty solid. It's got a cat motor, 300 horsepower, like 950 foot-pounds of torque, diesel, and then it's got an Allison 6-speed transmission.
Fuck yeah.
It's pretty solid. You're going to do maintenance on it, but it's solid.
Yeah.
RVs fall apart, like, while you're going on the road, basically.
Yeah.
And it's just the nature of the beast. It's a single-wide trailer on wheels, and, you know, it's... you hit a pothole and everything.
It's not the most aerodynamic, you know? It's going to catch some wind in some places.
Yeah, it's all about the maintenance on the camper aspects of it, like making sure all the things are replaced or tightened, or not letting it get away. Like, and like another big one is like the awnings, man. Like, if there's a storm coming up, roll the awning in. Like at FD St. Louis, the storm rolled in, and the camper beside me had ripped their entire awning off.
Oh fuck!
And it was a big one. They had like a Super C. I don't know if you're familiar with that. But that's like
no, I don't know.
Super C is like a transfer truck converted into an RV, basically.
Oh,
like would be the chassis, and then the back part where the trailer would normally hook up is all.
Oh, okay, so like a toter home type.
It's like
of
a
deal.
Toter home kind of thing. Anyways, but they have a big awning, and that thing just like ripped off. And they actually unbolted it and just left it in the parking lot, you know, next to the trash.
Yours now. You do what you want with it.
But yeah, like that kind of stuff, man. It's like paying attention and like taking care of stuff. I mean, it could be expensive to repair. So if you're already a mechanic, you're ahead of the game. If you got to pay RV shops, I don't know, you might want to rethink your decision. I did an oil change on it. It cost me like $250.
How much would it cost to pay someone?
Probably like $500. Takes 5 gallons of oil.
Holy shit, dude! Damn, it's a lot of fucking oil.
Yeah, man.
So you were telling me some of the kind of weird quirks you have to look out for when you are getting an RV, like tow weight, tow capacity, stuff like that.
Yeah, so most of the RVs, especially like some of the Class C ones that are on like a F250, F350 chassis, they only have a tow rating of 5,000 pounds. Most of the weight of the RV is on the chassis already. Yeah. So if you do know anything about towing and your gross weight and what you tow, you have to do math on like how much you can pull versus how much weight you already got on the vehicle.
Yeah, especially if you're adding stuff inside, more people.
Right, and you got your tanks, and you got to fill them up with water. You know, you got your black tank that fills up with shit, literally. So you got to account for all that, and by the time you weigh down the RV, it doesn't have much tow capacity left in it. Okay. So, but there's plenty of guys that do it anyway, and I don't know if they YOLO it or whatever. I wasn't taking chances.
Oh, fuck. He called you out.
Yeah. So I just got a diesel pusher because it's got like, I don't know, 15,000 pounds it can tow. Maybe it's 12. I don't know. I'm not towing that much, so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get into the diesels, they're more expensive. But
and do you have like what kind of trailer setup are you running? Is it do you run an aluminum trailer to keep the weight down?
Right now, I'm renting a trailer.
Oh,
and it's a tilt bed steel trailer.
Okay.
Yeah,
the tilt ones are dope. Not gonna lie,
it's actually cheaper for me to rent that trailer than to own one at the moment because.
Oh, how so?
Well, since I'm doing the FD stuff, I don't really have time to do many events.
That's fair.
I've maybe done 4 events this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've only done 1 comp.
More than me, baby. Sitting at 0.
And he only charges me $100 a day. So
damn,
I only have it 2 days. It's $200. I pick it up. Or sometimes he drops it off at my house.
$100, I would say, is a little steep. Especially around here. Like, there's a guy out in Murfreesboro, which is about 30 or 40 minutes away from here. Last time I checked, I think it was like $60 a day.
Yeah.
But you still have like the $200-300 insurance fee that gets reimbursed to you after you bring it back and shit like that. So you gotta have more than just $60 a day to rent the damn thing. But like my trailer, I got before COVID and crap. So I paid $2,000 for a steel deck trailer, brand new. Like not the insane quality, but it's like a low trailer. Like it's very low car friendly.
Yeah.
So I'm always curious what other people's trailer setups that because I was very dumbfounded that I found a trailer like that for so cheap.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays, like good.
Dude, they're expensive now. Like I was looking, I'm gonna end up with an enclosed trailer. Like I've decided after being in Alex's trailer. I'm like, yeah, man, this is the setup. He just drives the car up in there, and all the tools are already there. Yeah.
Then you get to lock all your stuff up. You don't have to have like a bed cover or topper or anything like that.
And the tilt bit works for now, but I will say, my first drift event of this year at South Boston Speedway, when I went to go load the car up after, like the next morning after the event, it's like dew on the ground, it's dew on the trailer.
Yeah.
And it's got the tilt bit on there. Well, I had bolted brand new tires on the car to go home with. Like I just didn't use them. Right, I bolted them on, and then the event was over or whatever. But they were brand new; they weren't scrubbed up or nothing.
Yeah.
So you can probably tell where this is going. So everything's wet, and I'm trying to load the trailer up, and as soon as it hits that steel deck, it just spins.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn it, right? and it's so narrow. Like this, a tilt bit is narrow because you gotta have a tilt bit, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, my girlfriend's trying to guide me. Like, I'm getting frustrated. So I back up, and I was just sending up on the trailer. I'm getting it on the trailer.
Hopefully I don't make it into the fucking
It made
RV.
it on the trailer, but I blew my right front tire because it caught the edge.
Oh, fuck.
By the time she told me to go left, it was too late.
Yeah, you were already committed, man.
And I hit that corner, and it blew my Kenda 225.
Brand new.
That was, I only had one event on that 225.
Oh.
Yeah, the rears were brand new, but I had one event
on that
Kenda. It was, oh man, I was like, so then I called my tire guy.
Man, ruining a brand new tire, that's a whole different type of feeling.
Oh, it was sidewall, man.
It hurt your heart so much.
It was a sidewall. No coming back.
Oh yeah, done, you can't even patch it, can't do shit.
Nope. It was done. So, and I'm like, well, it's on the trailer now, so let's go.
Well, fuck it.
Strap
that bitch down.
Yeah, so then I'm like, man, I like tilt bid, but then I look back and what I should have done is I should have went out to the pavement and did a burnout. Because then it would have made the tires hot and sticky, and then it would have went right on the trailer, no problem.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I can understand that one. Well, so with the RV, I guess... You were telling me, remind me what the name of that app is again that you use?
It's Harvest Host.
Harvest Host. Okay, so you were telling me that you use this to be able to find places to stay with the RV, especially given that it's so damn big, and to be able to have hookups. I've never even heard of this before, so I guarantee you none of you guys have probably heard it before. If you have, let me know in the comments, and maybe I'm just dumb. But tell us a little bit about that in case someone is interested in going this route.
Yeah, so Harvest Host, it's like $100 a year, and it's wineries and breweries that sign up, and they let you park your RV in their parking lot for free over just one night.
Yeah.
and they usually don't have hookups, but some do. It just depends on the place. But yeah, you just go park, go inside the brewery, grab some beers, go do whatever, and you have roughly 24 hours. They're not real strict about when you need to be out or anything like that. But
that's cool.
That's like how you can hop from place to place. You can drive 4 or 5 hours, and you can stop at this brewery, and then you can go see what the nightlife in that town is like, and then kind of make like what I call baby steps to the end goal, right? So, for example, when I went to New Jersey to E-Town, I stopped in Alexandria, Virginia first, at a brewery, and went downtown Alexandria, found like an Irish pub, hung out, met some people, and then the next day I went to Philly. And I got to hang out that brewery. Those people were super cool. They had great beers.
Hell yeah.
And I bought a bunch of their beers too, right? I'm like, man, it's so good.
I'm going to stock up while I'm here, baby.
Yeah, I bought all this beers and T-shirts and stuff. And then I popped over to a Phillies game, just hanging out in the city. And then after the Phillies game, pop over to like the bar, hang out, meet people. And then next day I'm in New Jersey, ready for E-Town. So it's a great way to travel. And also, so with Harvest Host, they have a partner called Boondockers Welcome, which is like an extra $50. That's like your farms and those type of places that participate that will allow RVers to come. So the place that you picked me up from is just a farm down the road. Yeah.
Literally, it's like a horse farm.
Yeah. And they have full hookups there. So I got,
that's so crazy.
It's full hookups. And some of them charge like a small fee.
Actually, I bet you I know why. Okay, so that probably is... If you don't know, Shelbyville, Tennessee is like the horse riding capital of the country or planet or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. It's very big here. So there's a lot of farms around here that will house campers and stuff like that because of horse riding.
Yeah, that makes sense. So this was a horse farm, and I talked to the I don't know if she's the owner or whoever I talked to when I got there.
Yeah.
And she said the reason they have all those hookups is because they used to do horse shows.
Oh, literally on the property.
Yeah, that property's huge. It's like 120 acres.
It looked really nice.
Yeah, they've got different buildings out there. And so there was the horse show. All the campers are set up right where the horse show used to be. And then on the other side was like their dance floor and stuff. And they used to like do weddings and
holy shit.
All kind of crazy stuff. And then they got a little fishing pond there. Like I went down there fishing, caught some bass. Like it's beautiful. You're out there. It's a beautiful property. And like, they just charge a small fee to stay if you can use the hookups. If you don't use the hookups, it's just free. But I'll pay the small
And you said
fee.
They normally only let you stay one night? Or is that just...
It depends. So the wineries and breweries, they usually stay one night. But the Boondockers Welcome, you can stay according to whatever they have listed. So this place was like... as many nights as I wanted to stay, really. They were cool with it.
Fuck yeah. Live here if you want.
just pay, whatever they would charge per month and just live there.
That's cool. Hell yeah. What's the coolest place you say you would say you've gotten to stay at?
I would actually say that farm is probably like the most beautiful place.
This one here.
Yeah, that's the most beautiful
Hell
place.
Yeah. Shout out to Shelbyville.
Yeah, I would say that's
saying a lot.
It's crazy because it's a beautiful property. You got all those rolling hills. You got the Tennessee rolling hills in the background. You've got pond. You got beautiful horses. I mean, like when I got there, I'm like, wow, man! Like I want to bring my girlfriend back here and just chill, like for a weekend.
Let's go on vacation here.
Yeah, just, like, pull the grills out and like But other than that, man, I spent 5 days in Nashville on my way to St. Louis.
Oh wow, okay.
And I really enjoy Nashville. So
did you get to go down on Broadway and stuff?
So I went to Broadway earlier this year.
Oh, okay.
So
I try and stay as far away from there as possible.
Yeah, I did normal Nashville stuff. Like I was like more of a local. I know a lot of people in Nashville, so
hell yeah.
I just kind of do the local thing. I actually met somebody last night that like knows somebody that drifts at Clarksville, right? I don't know who it was. I don't remember his name, but I'm like, yeah, man, that's cool. Like,
hell yeah. So does that happen quite a bit when you're on the road, just running into random guys, man. That
it's crazy.
Drive?
Well, it's all kind of crazy stuff. I run into people just in the drift community. And a good example, when I was in, it was New Jersey.
Okay.
And I go to the RTR tent, I like a lot of drivers, so I'll buy a lot of their gear. Chelsea's one of the drivers I
support.
like, So they got these cool skateboards, right? I want to buy the skateboard deck with Chelsea. And I walk up to pay for it, and the girl's like, hey, I know you're Chad. I'm like,
What?
I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean?
How the fuck you know me, bro?
We're in New Jersey. I don't know anybody from here. What the fuck? You know? And it turns out she does MB drift down the series that I race down.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah, she's down there with like some other people she knows or whatnot, and she remembered me and she remembered my car and all that. And so I sit and chit chat with her for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, man, that's wild. Like,
Yeah, you put yourself in some crazy scenarios doing that. I've started learning that as I'm traveling around to some of these bigger events and meeting some people. It's really cool, and you get to learn a lot of these bigger names and stuff like it. They really are just random ass people.
They are
just normal people. They get viewed different in a different light.
yeah, they're cool. Like the one I had a conversation with Matt Field, who sat there and talked to him for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Dude. Like, no problem.
We all know he gets. He's gotten his fair share of hate.
Yeah, I'll say
he's a fucking businessman. I will always say that. I'll always give him shit too when he deserves it, because he is kind of a crybaby sometimes. I'm sorry, but sorry, what were you about to say?
No, I'm just saying that like my interaction with him for that 20 minutes was like, I'm a fan.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan.
No, I agree.
Like, it was great. He even told me to personally reach out to him if I had any Corvette questions.
Sick.
So like you just tell people that. I mean, I get like I have a hard car and stuff like that, but like.
Yeah,
You didn't have to say that. Like, you can just be like, fuck off, right? So, I'm a fan. I know he gets a hard time, but my personal interaction was very positive. So,
who's your favorite driver you've been able to meet so far in FD then?
Alex Leclerc, duh.
Why?
The one I
so
work for,
then?
man. Yeah, I mean, of course, Alex, right? He's super cool.
Yeah.
And like honored to be able to work on his team. But I say like on the pro side, I mean, probably Matt. Like, I hadn't really met a lot of the pro guys, so just I had that conversation with Matt was super cool. You know, I talked to Rudy Hansen. He was pretty cool.
Yeah, he
he's
seems like a cool guy.
He's cool. I've talked to a bunch of them. I don't can't ever remember their names sometimes because you talk to so many people.
I'm terrible with names, bro. No matter how many times I talk, like. I'm just terrible with names.
Yeah, I'll say like Brewski's cool too. So we there's a go-kart track in St. Louis inside of right?
Yeah.
So we our entire team and Brewski and Turbo Mike, and I actually don't know Turbo Mike's real name, but I just know Turbo Mike. We all raced together, which was awesome. Yeah, and like
that's cool.
Yeah, getting to like race go-kart with those guys and shoot the shit with them was awesome.
Hell yeah. What's your favorite track in FD? As far as for the driver, what do you think works out best?
I would say E-Town's probably, at least for Alex, is his best track. My personal favorite to spectate was Atlanta.
Really?
Yeah, I actually really liked the amount of speed they come down the hill and like basically doing a back-E to go in and and then when you're spectating and then they come around the bowl, it's just a great view.
Oh, I'm sure that is cool.
I like that.
I really like Long Beach though.
So Prospect doesn't go to Long Beach.
Well, okay, that's true. I forget.
Yeah.
About
that. Prospect. We went to Atlanta, we went to E-Town, and we went to St. Louis, and then next is Utah. That might be my next favorite because.
Dude, yeah, from a viewer standpoint on the live streams and stuff, Utah is so fucking beautiful. That track is just amazing to watch.
I'm excited. I'm not driving the RV there, but
yeah, we ain't going that far.
That's that's not happening. And it cost me like $2,000 in fuel to get there, probably.
Jesus.
I'm not even looking into that. I'm getting a flight out there.
Yeah,
I look forward to that for sure.
Okay. I can't. Did you have anything else you wanted to bring up?
Let's see what's on the list.
We've pretty much gone over everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we're at 1 hour and 20, so we've got a decent podcast. So.
Okay. I could talk about a story that when I first got into drifting, it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it's Tell
me the story then.
So, I got this S13 SR and I'm all excited. Then like my first event and I'm ready to go back for my second.
Okay.
And I'm not trailering my car, right? I'm just driving it. And I decided to drive this car to Virginia Beach from Greensboro, North Carolina, because that's where I was going to college. which I don't even know how far it is. It's like 4 hours. It's far. So I drive the car there, and as I'm drifting, my dipstick keeps like blowing oil everywhere, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know what's going on, but like keep putting oil in it. Like obviously the rings are fried. That's what it is. But this time I didn't know that, right? And I keep drifting it, oil's blowing out everywhere, and eventually, man. So then it spun the bearing.
Oh,
knock.
Yeah.
Here comes the spun bearing, and I'm like, wow. This is the only car I have to drive. And my dumbass drove it 4 hours away from where I live. And I blew it up
shit was going
doing
on with
stupid shit. Like,
damn.
Yeah, man, it was tough.
So how did you clean that mess up?
I ended up having to call like my roommate back in Greensboro.
Oh no.
He had to rent a U-Haul tow dolly and drive all the way down there. And we had to.
Is that the dolly situation?
No, that's when I picked the car up, the car that I have now.
Oh, okay, sorry.
This was totally separate. And then load that car up and take it. I didn't have anywhere to put it because I was living in like an apartment complex, so I can't. Yeah. So I ended up having to take it to my parents' house in Virginia and drop it off, and then go back. And like I ended up buying like my brother's car for like $600 or something. Like get me around, like with some piece of shit he had. Yeah, it's like, but the point of bringing that story up is like, don't drive your daily driver 4 hours and go drift it.
Yeah.
It could, unless you have a backup plan.
Highly consider not daily driving your drift car.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
I mean, if you've got AAA and it covers the mileage, or you've got a backup plan, somebody, whatever.
Yeah, that's fair. If you got the means and you can work it out, but
like it's not. I love YOLO, but that's not a YOLO moment.
Yeah,
don't do that.
I like that. Hell yeah. Well, cool. Well, so all right, then what is your kind of end goal for your drifting career? Where do you want to get to?
I started out kind of just wanting to get back in it for the fun. I wasn't planning on doing comps, but then I was like, well, I'll do a comp. A lot of guys talk to me like, hey man, you should do comps. You're pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, fine, do comps. Did way better at comps than I thought.
That's how most people that have that same exact mentality. They're like didn't really question or even want to at the beginning, but as soon as they did, like Dustin Miles, he like won his first fucking comp, which is crazy. Won $500 off of it or something shit like that. I don't know, but
yeah, it's so because I'd never done tandem before until last year.
No shit.
Because I drifted from like I'd say 05 to 2008, 2009, whatever.
Yeah, which was still so new.
It was so new, and I wasn't caged. Nobody was doing tandems because they didn't know, like, if you crash, would people get hurt? So I had never tandem with another driver, like, because I was, gone from the sport for like 10 years until I got the vet and got back into it, and I finally got to do some tandems.
Yeah.
And so then I did some comps, and I did pretty good. Like, my first event, I qualified third, right? I'm like, what?
Damn.
Dude, my goal when I showed up, I was like, I just want to qualify for the race.
Yeah.
Period. That's it. That was my goal. And
then what comp was it?
It was MB Drift down in Rockingham. Yeah. Gotcha. And I qualified third. I'm like, oh man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, might have a knack for something.
Yeah. And I got a bye run, so I ended up in the top 16 right off the bat. And I got a one more time on my first freaking battle, man. Like and the crazy thing is, I was battling a guy that I used to drift with back in 07.
That's cool.
Yeah, shout out to Shaky.
Nostalgic run.
Yes, the MB Drift guys, shout out to Shaky because we got that one more time. It was awesome. I was like, man, because I drifted with him way back then. He'd been drifting the whole time.
That's the moments.
And I remember, he ended up beating me, but like, we get out of the car and we were just like high-fiving and hugging. It's like, dude, man, we hadn't drifted together in like 10 plus years. And we were in comp, so it was pretty cool. And what's ironic is the very next competition, for whatever reason, he didn't qualify very well.
Mm-hmm.
I think we both kind of qualified like mid-pack.
Okay.
You know how the bracket goes. Yeah. So me and him ended up battling again in top 32 in the very next event. The way
it needs to. That's crazy.
And he beat me again. But the thing is like, I was like, oh, well, like I can compete.
Yeah.
Like I'm decent at this. So then I just keep.
I'm a contender in this.
Yeah. So this year I didn't get to compete as much as I wanted to because I did the FD stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's been fun. I've enjoyed like doing the FD stuff. Is like
Got to take advantage
man,
of those
it's awesome.
opportunities that come very slim in your life.
I call it FD University.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, you're learning right now. If you ever want to get to that point.
Yeah, I got that from Alex. Said that, you know, like when I was having my interview with him, he's like, yeah, this is FD University. Like the amount of stuff that you're gonna learn in this role.
Yeah,
is invaluable, and it's been true. So like even my
it's not
setup,
teachable.
in my setup in my car, and like I can apply so many different things I've learned from him and from other prospect drivers, from pro drivers, like in test sessions and stuff. You talk to them, they tell you you get to talking about spring rates and like wheel speeds and like all kind of stuff and like gear ratios and like all that. But you get in the weeds on it. It's really understand right. How to set your car up for a certain track. Yeah. And so that's invaluable to learn that stuff. So I'll apply
something
that.
I still don't even really have a grasp on. Like I understand basic alignment setups, but I'm sure when you get to that level, it's very nitty gritty details.
Yeah, it is. Like whether you're in third or fourth gear is depending on the track, but depending on what gear ratio you're running is a big deal. Your top wheel speed is a deal. You need to know.
Is he running a quick change too?
No, right now we have a non-quick change.
A non-quick change, okay.
We have
fair enough.
We have different.
It's the long version.
It's the long change. Yeah. We have different gears we can run, but it's just a normal diff. I mean, really, in his car, you know, it's a GT86. Man, it's not that hard to change. Yeah. If we really wanted to change our gear ratio, we could do it. About like changing coilovers in the rear, it's not hard. Yeah. If you want to change the rear spring rate, it's not hard. So, but like just learning all that and applying it to my program has been invaluable. So, but as far as my end game in drifting, like I just want to getting further into the sport and just enjoy it. It's been fun.
Try and make a career out of it, maybe.
I would say if I do make a career out of it, I don't necessarily know if I would be like a driver.
I can agree with that.
If it came out that way. Right. Yeah. That I got lucky enough to get a prospect license and go on, or some team pick me up in pro. Yeah, I would do that, but like I'm pretty old, so that's probably not gonna happen. That's fair. But I do see the sport growing big time right now. Over the past 5 years, it's growing.
Yeah, it's growing pretty rapidly, I would say.
So I would look. My end game is like I'm in early, even though it's 20 years of drifting. But right now we're in like the heyday, kind of like when NASCAR was just coming up and then it exploded. Yeah. If you talk to kids, man,
we're in like the terrible twos of drifting.
Right.
It's still so fresh.
All the kids you talk to, they know about drifting, but a lot of them might not know about NASCAR. Yeah. Yep. So when they get old enough, there's a possibility that drifting will be just as popular and on regular TV like NASCAR, right?
Yeah, I talked about that with Ryan Sage in his episode, and he was talking about how E-Town has like been notorious for drag racing, but they just went all in on drifting, and if more tracks like that would start to recognize that drag racing, NASCAR, all this stuff, like nobody gives a fuck to watch it really anymore.
Right, yeah.
And drifting is really becoming the next automotive sport, I would say.
I agree with that.
If you see it from some different perspective, let me know. But like from the way things have been moving and growing, that's definitely got to be it. And I think a lot of tracks will start opening up to more drifting within the next 5 to 10 years.
Absolutely. And so my place in that would be, you know, if I'm lucky enough to still be in the sport, what role could that be? Who knows? Yeah. I'm a mechanic now, but maybe I could be a mechanic for like a top tier, like RTR kind of team. Yeah. You know, maybe who knows in 10 years. Or
yeah. You who knows what how it would.
But I just want to stay in the sport and contribute. Yeah. And wherever my role goes, it goes. Now, I would run like pro spec probably from a driver's perspective, but like that wouldn't be a career.
Yeah,
I don't think.
You couldn't make a career out of that.
No, that's like, you know, it's a stepping stone to pro, or you just want to run pro spec and just because you have enough money to do it. Yeah. So, you know, if something happened in my life where I was fortunate enough to have that kind of cash to just run pro spec, I would just do that just for fun. Yeah. Right. But my end game is just to like enjoy the community, man. Like that's the biggest thing.
Yeah. The community is like no other in motorsports.
Absolutely. I've been in all different types of motorsports. Like I told you about the go-kart stuff. I grew up around circle track racing. And I still love circle track racing, but I don't want to be a part of it like that.
Yeah, no.
I'm not trying to knock them.
I've been to a couple of those, man, and I'm like, man, y'all some haters.
They be fighting all the time. And stuff.
Yeah.
And a little bit of drama is good, you know, like the stuff with Chelsea. That's
Keep
good
the
drama.
tension high. It's good for views. But
like we don't actually need to like punch we don't actually need to punch each other in the face.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, stand your ground and all, but damn, realize you got a professional. You're a professional. You know, can't be a. Well, I guess in circle track, depending on where you're at, you wouldn't technically be a professional. But, anyways, sorry. Well, give me your best piece of advice for anyone just getting into drifting.
All right. So, you know, I listen to the podcast, and a lot of the answers are usually around the same kind of thing about your car. Keep it simple. So I'm gonna go from a different perspective. Since, you know, I'm a mechanic in FD, I've worked on my cars my whole life. I'm gonna go from the mechanic side of things. And I'm gonna say that if you want to get into drifting, figure out whether or not you want to be a mechanic as well. Mm-hmm. Like, even at the basic level, relying on someone else might be a huge problem, right?
Yeah.
So figure out, all right, I want to go drifting, but like, do you know how to change a tie rod in? Like, have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Well, if you haven't, you go learn, look on YouTube, figure it out. And if you do that, and you're like, I don't like working on this car. Well, like, drifting might not be the sport for you because you're going to break. Things are going to break all the time. So figure out if you want to be a drifter and a part-time mechanic, I would say. Yeah. Which most of us are, right? If you talk to any drifter, almost we all work on our cars. But I think that's something that's usually overlooked when you're trying to talk to a young person about it. They just want to, they might get on a sim and they go slide their car around. They're like, this is super cool. I can drive. Like, who's going to work on it?
They overlook all the complications. Yeah.
If you've got somebody, cool. Yeah.
Or if you got the money to pay someone random in a pinch.
Right. But sure. I mean, at the track though, what's going to happen? Like, obviously we're a good community. Everybody's going to rally around and help you.
Yeah.
But there's times when people aren't available, especially middle of comp, when you break something. It could be something really simple to fix. But like, if you don't know how to fix it, you're out. Like, that's simple, right? It could be the simplest thing as a burnt spark plug wire, for instance.
Yeah.
Right? But if you don't know anything about cars,
how to look for that.
You just know your car's not running right.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then you're out of the competition when you could have literally pulled another spark plug wire out of the box and popped it on there and went back out and competed. So
yeah, and I think that's a good thing to touch on, is that it's all based off of repetition too. Yeah. Is what I say. So like if you buy a brand new build that you don't even really know how the car was swapped, you don't know the ins and outs of like every little inch of the motor that you normally pick up on when you do a swap. Like, you're not going to know what things are probably going to go wrong in certain scenarios, and then you're going to have to resort. Like, I mean, you're going to have to figure those things out as you go, especially if you bought a car that's pre-built.
Absolutely.
And just understand that you're going to have to go through those headaches multiple times before they probably click. Yeah. And before you can just look for those things off of second nature.
Yeah. Being a mechanic in FD, I didn't build that car.
Yeah.
So that's a whole thing, like growing pains, like figuring out what's what and what's breaking, like.
How is this routed? Why is this routed this way? How can I access this easier?
Absolutely. Like, when we broke an axle, I was getting ready to unbolt the wheel, and then Alex yells out, "Hey, you don't have to take the wheel off."
Yep.
That's because the way his wheel is.
That's 30 extra seconds.
You can access the axle nut without taking the wheel off. But like nature, I'm just like, oh, was it the wheel off? But don't have to.
Yeah.
So it's little stuff like that, I'd also like to touch on like, the people who want to get into FD. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you do that? Like, if you want to be a mechanic, you want to be a spotter, if you want to do something, how do you get into FD? You heard my story, but my story was through networking.
Yeah. Just talking
to people, that is like, now that I know like what it's like to be inside of the sport, it's like that. Like that's the route, networking, talking to people. So if you wanted to be a mechanic in FD, I say go to events, talk to people, walk around the pits. If you've never been to FD, go. And
you'd be surprised how open these bigger guys are. They will talk to you.
Yep. And like a lot of the prospect guys are out there at their merch tents working.
Yeah. Especially prospect guys, they're more or less desperate to talk to you. They want you to come buy something. Absolutely. They want you to support.
Yeah,
They're looking for a new follower.
Like if you came to FD, and you stop by Alex's pit, he's out there. I'm out there.
Yeah.
Other guys are out there. You can ask us questions about the car.
People.
We'll talk, and like, and you're interested, and you're like, hey man, like, I want to be a mechanic, or like, I've got all this experience. Have your little resume ready, and like, maybe it doesn't work this year.
Yeah.
But you can put it out there to like 10 different drivers for next year.
Stand the fuck out.
And then maybe you get a phone call because they had a mechanic that quit or had a baby,
major
or whatever.
Injury, you never know.
Who knows what happens? And then you get a call, and now you're a mechanic on an FD team.
Yeah. And I would say that relates to no matter what industry you're in. Networking is fucking insane. I mean, my personal job, I do media for people. So this week I had someone that I haven't spoken to in probably 3 years call me that knew I was doing media, but like he never really thought about it. But he's on this new job that he's doing, and he needs media coverage or media edited for him. So he hit me up out of random just because like he knew that I do editing from word of mouth, people talking, not just me talking, but he knew me beforehand, so that helped. So I would say in any industry, that's
absolutely
very fucking important.
Yeah, so get out there and talk. Don't be shy.
And that's hard for me, man. I'm like, I know I do this, and like my whole ordeal with this is talking to people, but I'm an extremely introverted person. And I'm at events, like I stick to myself. I don't talk a lot. Like if you come up to me and talk to me, I can sit there and have a conversation with you. I'm fucking horrible at small talk. Like, sorry, I suck at it. So if I get awkward pauses when you meet me in person, sorry. But yeah.
Yeah, that would be my advice for anybody looking to get in. And any part of it. Like mechanic, spotter, there's so many different roles. Crew chief, like there's a lot of roles. Media is another one. Like, you know, we've got like 3 or 4 media guys on our team. So like maybe you want to shoot photography in FD, man. You can do it. You need to go to network with these teams and figure out how do you get to that level. Like talk to the other media guys. Yeah. They'll tell you like, hey, this is what I did before I got here, and this is the quality of work that I had. So, and that's what you need if you want to get in the sport to do it.
Yeah. Go get you some cheap-ass business cards made. Yeah. Go hand them out. Put your phone number on them, social media on them. Set up a Google Drive link of portfolio and stuff.
Yeah, but and I would say also have a backup job, like a real like. Yeah. Like don't be like, oh, I want to be an FD mechanic, and that's
don't dive head first. don't do that. Yeah,
that's my life. Yeah, no, it's not gonna happen, man. Not that quick anyway. You know, you'd have to be at the pro level before it was like something you do for a living, and even then, I don't know if those guys do it for a living or not. Yeah, I'm not sure. So. Yeah.
You gotta understand who you're working with. They gotta have the budget. But well, cool. I sure do appreciate that. I guess if you want, looking at that camera, shout out anybody you want to shout out. Shout out yourself.
Yeah, man. I have lots of shout outs. First and foremost is my FD team, Alex Linkleiter and the Toyota GT86. And the whole team, the mechanics, the media guys, the crew chiefs, everybody that makes that program work. Like, shout out to you guys. Y'all work hard every round we're at. I appreciate you guys. And sponsors for Alex, like, you know, NST Nonstop Tuning. Mike's great. You know, awesome products, so go check them out. TDMI, I don't know if you guys heard of them. Check them out. They do like big brake kits and all kind of stuff.
Sick. Yeah.
And then as far as like, you know, my shout outs, like I gotta give a shout out to my sponsors. I've got Baller's Tire in South Boston, Virginia. Brian Cheever, he hooks me up with tires, and without that, man, I don't even know if I'd be drifting. Like, you know, having a tire hooked up is
expensive now.
It's a big thing. You know, having those discounted tires is huge. My car's actually getting painted right now, so I want to shout out to Ronnie's Auto Body and Daniel. They're gonna be hooking me up.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Olivia Wash. She's actually doing my livery. She drifts in MB Drift as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Also shout out to the MB Drift guys, man. I love those dudes. They're awesome. Marshall Ingerling and Zach, Tony Martin, they all put on a great show down there. So if you guys are ever in that area, like go down there, check them out. You get lots of seat time. You want to do a comp? We got a comp. Different course layouts. It's and it's done in Rockingham, North Carolina. So, yeah, and then yeah, shout out to my girlfriend for supporting me.
Yeah,
you know how that is, man.
Don't forget that one.
Yeah, Ashley's awesome.
I'll cut out that long pause. I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, Ashley Allen, she's awesome. She supports me on the road, man. You know, like I'm traveling all the time on FD events, and then when we're home, then I'm trying to go to a drift event. So luckily, like
she consumes the life.
She loves the racing too, so she's a part of the community.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I guess other than that, man, I want to shout out to this new brand that I have coming out.
Okay.
Actually, basically, I'm dropping it now. So it's called Bougie Redneck.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. How this came about is, you know, I like nicer things. I drift a Corvette, man. Come on now.
Yeah.
But I'm country. Like I was born and raised in the country.
Yeah,
so.
we're in the South.
Yeah. So
we all got it in our blood.
So it's what we say. You know, it's where classy meets country. Is the Bougie Redneck. So. Yeah, I got a friend of mine, Ben. We put this whole thing together and just now rolling out with the merch.
Yeah. And
you can find it on bougieredneck.shop. That's BOUGIE. Okay. Redneck, all one word,
on the
shop.
Screen, in the description.
Yeah. Go there. You can check out all the different gear and stuff we got. And the logos are super sick. And you'll see some of my drifting stuff on there too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like Campbell 33, this and that. 33 is my number. And yeah, we're looking forward to rolling that out. So we've been working on that for like 3 months, and so we're just now getting the rollout with the website and the merch.
Tight.
Yeah. And there'll be a drift series coming out with that too, which is gonna be cool.
Oh.
Yeah. So the drift series is gonna be kind of like
get some light on that.
Well, so like one of the examples is Drift Bunny. So like in a Drift Bunny, it's gonna be like 3 different women hanging around like my drift car. You know, and it's just like. It's like the girls who come to the track and want to ride for free, like kind of deal. Like, and then like Drift Honey is kind of like a bigger woman. It's like, you know, like it's gonna be great, man. Like Papa Drift will be like some dude like with a cigar, fucking hanging out next to the car.
Oh my god.
Drift Bros will be just a bunch of bros hanging around the car, and then you'll have Drift Fam, and then we're gonna do all the characters hanging out with the car, and that'll be a whole series we're gonna come out with.
That's fucking awesome. I like that. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so that's to come. Like right now, we're just sticking with the launch of just the Bougie Redneck brand in itself. Yeah. Before we start.
So basically, what he's saying is follow along now so that you see it in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got. I can grab that. T-shirt right there.
Go grab it.
Cool. Yep. So here's what the logo looks like. If you guys can see that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we got a wine glass and a pint glass under the.
Yeah, that's tight.
Yeah. Yep. So this is yours, sir.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, I didn't miss any shout outs. I had a whole list. I'm like thinking in my head, man. Like I said, well, you know, and the guys
think of one when you leave.
Yeah, the guys over at South Boston Speedway too for letting us drift. That's been awesome. Like Chase, the track manager, like he's been super awesome to work with to let us drift. So, you know, I hope we can continue to drift there.
Yeah.
And grow that. It's kind of small right now. It's like 20-ish drivers.
Yeah. Support your fucking tracks, dude. If you want tracks to open up to drifting, you got to support them.
Yeah, and so we do 2 events a year, and that's every time that's what he says. He was like, we'll keep doing this as long as we get at least 20 drivers.
Yeah, I know it's fucking hard, man. Like, times are tough. Everyone's struggling, but you got to come together as a community somehow. So
yeah, so if you guys are in the Virginia area and you see, go on South Boston Speedway's website, see if they got a drift event. We do only do 2 a year, usually in the spring before the NASCAR starts. Yeah. And then again in the fall when it's over. But pop on there or follow me on my social media. I'll post all about it because I help run it. What you can find me is slide_society33 on Instagram and also on YouTube. And if you want to follow my TikTok, it's Bougie Redneck 33. Anyway, follow me somewhere. Yeah, follow me somewhere, and you'll see these events. And I would love if you guys come to Sobo Drift because I'm trying to keep that going.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's tough if you guys don't come out and sign up. Then it's a NASCAR track, and we know how that goes, man. They make their money with NASCAR.
Yeah.
They're letting us drift.
Yeah.
If we don't bring the car count,
risk
if they don't bring the car count and can't break even, they're not going to let us drift. Because if they have to spend a dime, we're not drifting. And that's all it is. 20 cars breaks even.
Yep.
So get your 20 cars, and they'll pay the track workers to be there. You got a super nice facility. You got somewhere to camp. You know, you've got this course you can go slide around on. It's pretty cheap, like as far as the entry fees.
Don't fucking trash it.
Yeah.
For the love of God, pick up your shit. Pull a trash. There's always a million trash cans at drift events. Grab one and bring it to your pit.
Yes.
That really pisses me off when people just trash events. They leave everything behind.
That either.
Like, dude, come on.
You gotta do better. Do better.
Yeah. And now, if you're leaving scrap metal, that's fine.
Yeah.
I would say, you never know. Someone might need a piece of that, or a track owner wants to go get some money for some scrap metal. I don't know. But that we could, yeah. But if you're just leaving cups and shit and drinks everywhere, your beer cans, fuck, dude, grow up. Anyways, sorry.
Absolutely.
Rant
Don't do it.
over.
Yeah. Do better.
Well, I sure do appreciate you coming on, man. This was awesome.
Thanks, I appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, I came decent way. Not too far of a drive, I would say. But that's pretty much it for this one. Do not forget to subscribe, and especially if you want to join in on the Bridgemoto giveaway. Don't forget to join in on that. It's very easy to get entered. Just simply subscribe here, subscribe to Bridgemoto, and follow Bridgemoto's Instagram account. That simple. And if you guys need any BC coilovers or, FDF angle kits or anything like that, link is always in the description. But that is it for this one. Grab the merch, and we will see you next week. Peace. Hell yeah.
Good shit, man.
Yeah, you did great on that.
Yeah. Look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. Go. Okay, let's get it.